Welcome to your VR devlog number 2. My name is Ryan. I'm going to be taking you through this small little update. Nothing too major here. Probably our last devlog in our test level. But what we have this week are physical or physics objects, so we can physically interact with the world with our hands and do all sorts of cool, fun stuff like take out your rage and aggression on these poor little boxes and send them flying into the abyss. See if I can get it across the edge this time. Yeah. And well, it's kind of like a hole in one. So yeah, so we've been implementing physics objects and having the hands interact with them, and then determining what should be and what shouldn't be a physics object. So what will the hands collide with and cause impart mass on and effect, and then which ones will they just kind of go through. And it's definitely going to be an evolving process as we tweak these things, but we've been just asking ourselves, what do you want to have your hands get caught on and move about, and what do you want your hands just to go through, simply because you can't physically feel when your hand's touching something, so you don't want it just waving about, smashing things. And well, I mean, maybe you do, but eventually it's going to get bothersome to have to clean up the same mess over and over again because you don't realize that your hand is knocking stuff over. So there's going to be certain things that you can knock over, probably common items, smaller, medium-sized objects. And then there's going to be other things that you're just going to clip through, like this, walls and large tables and things that will become more of a burden and a nuisance than anything. So that's physics. Now we've got a fun little toy here, which is our hand crossbow. Let's see if I can reach down and grab you. So this beauty, I don't know, 13th, 14th century, 15th century, somewhere around there. We've got some of the systems in place, not quite finished yet, but for detecting hand collision, so that you can trigger the string to pull back, and then also a spot that you can stick the bolts inside. And you can see how my hand is gripping this, and it's kind of snapping into place. And what we wanted to do with a lot of objects is that you can just pick them up anywhere your hand touches it. So if I just grab it here, I can just hold the crossbow kind of like that. But then with other objects, like so, we really wanted to save you the hassle of having to fit it perfectly into your hand, because you can't articulate your wrists or your fingers in the same way in VR as you can in real life. So it's really difficult to get it into that perfect sweet spot. So we're just going to save you the trouble and have it snap to for certain items, and certain items will have certain sweet spots. Like if you grab it anywhere in here, then it'll snap. But let's say you were to grab it up here, instead of it snapping like it is now, it'll just kind of grab it from the end. So all items that are meant to be held in a certain spot will have sweet spots on them that'll automatically snap your hand in place and snap the item in place, and it'll all be rotated to be used as quickly and efficiently as possible. Whereas other items, like those little blocks or whatnot, you can just grab them anywhere and it'll pick them up, because it feels a lot more natural to do that, but it's also a pain in the ass. So that's our crossbow. While I drop it, that's the other thing I can talk about. So we've had a lot of conversations around the office about, do we do what all other VR games are doing, and that's essentially you hold down the trigger. I'm holding this, and as soon as I let go of the trigger, I drop it. And if we were to do that, that would mean that we couldn't use the trigger as the firing button. And the reason that that's important is because, particularly for new players to VR, if you point your hand out forward and you hit the trigger, it is the button that results in the least amount of hand movement. And you can see right now, I'm hitting the trigger and trying to stay as still as I can, and my hand is hardly moving. And if we weren't going to use the trigger for the gun trigger, the crossbow trigger, and it was just going to be the pick up, put down, then we would have to use probably the side buttons, the rubber buttons on the side, as the trigger, because the face buttons, the round touchpad, those are all movement and menus and whatnot. So we'd use the side buttons to fire, but you can see when I use the side buttons, it results in just a little bit more of a hand movement, and that's for someone that uses VR on a daily basis. For someone that's new to VR, it looks more like this. And so if we wanted to do that, you would never hit your target because your hand would always be slightly moving every time you pulled the trigger. The end result that we decided on, which feels a lot more natural, is just use the trigger to pick the thing up and to shoot. So anything that's used like a pistol or a projectile weapon, the trigger is what picks it up, and the trigger is also what you use to loose the bolt. Anything else, and it's just going to be your standard trigger to pick up, trigger to let go. So the side buttons, the rubber side buttons, are actually what are used to drop this thing, as I can do right there. And you can see, oh, it didn't quite pick it up. It's pretty natural once you get used to it, just dropping with the side button. And then in our little box of treats here, what we have is all of our crossbow bolts, which I love. Just playing with them and making a mess. There's just something so cathartic about this. And this brings me to the other thing about picking objects up. So you can see as my hand intersects with the crossbow bolt, it changes its position to indicate, oh, okay, I'm about to pick something up. So telling you that you can pick this up and that it's a pick-upable object. And I've offset the crossbow bolt a little bit here so you can see what we're doing with the hand position, because as we started populating the world with different objects and we started picking them up, it became very apparent, and it's something that you just take for granted in non-VR development because you just don't worry about it, that our hands go into very different positions and different poses to pick up different objects at different sizes. So a crossbow bolt, for example, will be picked up with like a chopstick pose or a pen or whatnot, whereas a crossbow is going to be picked up more like you would a baseball bat or round, larger object. So we've got small objects that get picked up kind of like a pinching movement. We've got medium-sized objects that get picked up with more of like a grip or a fist. And then we're going to have larger objects that will be more picked up with an open palm. But it just meant that every object in the world needs to have its size calculated, and we do that by calculating the bounding box around the object, and then the size that it is determines, oh, okay, well, here are the hand positions that need to be used to pick up this object. And in next week's video, we should be going over using the crossbow bolt and loading it in. Because this is a very particular kind of crossbow, it only takes these small 12-inch bolts. So needing to detect, is it a 12-inch bolt or is it a 16-inch bolt? Does it even fit in the barrel? If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, don't let it slide in. And yeah, so that's it. Hopefully in the next week's video, we're going to be in our brand new map, at least walking around, and we'll see you guys then.